In a perfect world, you just be who you want to be. And I say this because for me, you should live your authentic self. And so I grew up in LA, experiencing LA as you experience all of it, from Hollywood to Beverly Hills, different places. I finished my bachelor's degree at Cal State Dominguez Hills. And I was thinking, what should I do next with my life? So I joined the Navy. I stayed in the Navy 22 years, retired back in 2007. And while I was in the Navy, I felt a call to ministry. But at the same time, I started going through some gender issues. Now, I was married at the time, married with 2 children, boy and a girl. And so the gender issue became very complicated. The wife did not understand it at all. She said, well, I'm not a lesbian. I said, it's not about being a lesbian, it's like love. She wasn't feeling it. And what can I say? I mean, I didn't understand it myself. And so finally, we kind of had to break up. It took a load off my shoulders, actually, because then I could do my therapy, I could be at peace. So being in the Navy, it's just strict, very strict. And if you're on a ship, you got a small little area you live in, real small area, and it's really close, you're close to each other. And so if somebody is gay or whatever like that, people find that out real quick. Some folks have been killed, for that back in the past. I hope it's getting better now. But it's a very masculine, male-oriented environment. But what I found out, there are a lot of people in the Navy at the time who really were really stressed out. They were living a life they really weren't happy with. They did what they needed to do. They obeyed the regulations. But I remember one sailor, I was the chief at the time, and the sailor was, he had a choice. He could have gone to jail or he gone to the military. He said, I'll go in the military. He still wanted to use drugs though. But you can't do that. I said, you can't do that in the military. You can't do drugs in the military. But I also found that he would deal with some other issues, gender issues, sexuality issues. And it was kind of funny because I was dealing with my own issues at the time. But I had to kind of take care of him as a chief. It was really interesting. I'm living this life. I'm being squared away as a U.S. Navy sailor. But at the same time, I'm doing the same issues my junior sailors dealing with. It was a trip. But as a religious person, you can only hold down the authentic being of humanity down so much. You can only push down reality of it so much before it's going to come back. One day as far as my therapy, I went back and did some studies on gender and how gender was played out over the centuries. And I realized, wait a minute, you mean there were trans folks like 1,000 years ago? Yeah. And so I was talking to a Native American shaman, and he said, yeah, there were plenty of trans folks in the tribes. And then one day we got taught to think differently about that. And so I realized that when the colonizer explorers came over here, they killed off a lot of the folks who might be LGBTQ. And so there was no contact with folks like me. And that's what's going on now. Now the colonization, the imagination put in place by European settlers is starting to fall apart. And then you have folks like me who are coming out now, that's not supposed to, we tried to push them down. Let's create another law to keep them down. Can't do it. Eventually, things go back to their original form. It's physics. It doesn't change. And there's so many people who suffer every single day because they're living somebody else's life and not their own.